If you find yourself struggling with your studies and aspire to excel like top students, achieving the grades they do, then you've clicked on the right video. By the end of this video, you'll discover 5 powerful techniques that top students use to cover more material in less time, without forgetting what they've learned. We'll dive into the story of a student who worked extremely hard but couldn't retain information effectively. However, one day, she learned 5 key techniques from her mentor. By putting them into practice, she transformed from an average student into a top achiever. So, let's begin with high hopes. There was once a girl from a village who excelled in many aspects of life for her age, but there was one area where she consistently struggled: her studies. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't grasp concepts or retain information. Her classmates often laughed at her mistakes, making her feel discouraged. One day, while walking through the forest, the girl stumbled upon a serene temple. Curious, she went inside and observed monks in deep meditation. The peace of the place and the calmness of the monks put the girl at ease. Summoning the courage, the girl approached the Zen master and said, "Master, I'm very weak in my studies. I forget what I learn, and I find it hard to concentrate. Can you help me?" The Zen master opened his eyes, smiled gently, and replied, "Of course. But first, you must understand the essence of studying and how the mind works. I'll share with you some valuable tips to help you focus and improve in your studies." The Zen master began to explain. The first tip is to clear your mind. The master handed the girl a jar filled with muddy water and asked, "What do you see?" The girl answered, "It's muddy." "Now place the jar down and wait," said the monk. After an hour, the dirt had settled and the water became clear. "This," said the master, pointing to the jar, "is your mind. When it's filled with distractions, fears, or thoughts of play, you can't think clearly. But when you calm your mind, clarity emerges. So, before studying, take a few moments to meditate, focus on your breathing, and clear away distractions. This way, whatever you read will be easier to understand." The second tip is to stay in the present. The master then lit a candle and asked the girl to focus on the flame without letting her mind wander. At first, the girl's thoughts drifted to her classmates, her failures, and other things. But with practice, she managed to focus solely on the flame. The master explained, "The past is gone, and the future is yet to come. So when you study, stay in the present. If your mind drifts to past mistakes or future worries, gently bring it back to the task at hand. Give your full attention to the present moment." The third tip is to absorb knowledge, not just memorize. The master gave the girl a sponge and a stone. He poured water over both. The sponge absorbed the water, while it simply slid off the stone. Many students try to memorize facts like the stone, only to forget them later. Be like the sponge. Absorb the knowledge. Understand it. Don't just memorize. Visualize the concepts, relate them to real-life situations, and make the information part of you. This way, you won't forget what you've learned. But before we dive deeper into these valuable tips, if you're enjoying the content so far and want to stay motivated with more tips and stories like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video from us. Your success is our mission, and we'd love to be part of your journey. So, let's continue. The fourth tip is to break tasks into smaller steps. The master handed the girl a large block of wood and asked her to split it. The girl struggled, but couldn't manage. The master then showed her how to chisel it bit by bit until it broke apart. When faced with a big task, break it into smaller steps. Study in chunks. Grasp a little at a time. Take short breaks between sections. This way, you won't get bored, and you can study for longer periods. The fifth and final tip is to be persistent. The Zen master planted 2 seeds in separate pots. One was watered daily, while the other was neglected. In a few days, the first seed sprouted into a healthy plant, while the other remained dormant. Your efforts, like that plant, will grow if you're persistent. Study regularly, even if it's just a little each day. Consistency is key. With steady effort, one day, you'll find yourself transformed into an excellent student. The girl returned to the Zen master for several days, practicing these principles. When she returned to school, she applied what she had learned. Though the change wasn't immediate, over time, she noticed significant improvement. She became more attentive, understood her lessons better, and remembered what she studied. Her grades improved, and more importantly, she found joy in learning. Years later, the girl grew into a successful woman. She often reflected on the invaluable lessons she had learned from the Zen master, realizing that they weren't just about studying better, they were about living better. She understood that life isn't just about reaching a destination, but about the journey and the lessons learned along the way. So, from this student's story, we've learned 5 important strategies. 1. Clear your mind. 2. Focus on the present. 3. Absorb knowledge. Don't just memorize. 4. Break tasks into steps. 5. Be persistent. By applying these techniques, you too can become a brilliant student, just like her. Thank you for watching, and stay blessed.